jump into the policy review portion. So I gave you a different handout for this first section here under option. So I'll just start. We're going to have technically three options. I call them option 1, option 1A, and option 2. We'll have some review in the subsequent slides here, but the first slide kind of addresses this portion here. So these two little handouts here are what PSBA has as an offering to the district as a policy review, maintenance, and kind of that aspect. For tonight, at least for my section here, it's going to be a financial analysis portion. So option 1, just want to say that we'll jump into this one here, the membership, is there's the membership fee of, these are actually last year's numbers in front of you, this year's, or I should say upcoming year's numbers. They're a little different than what's on the screen, but there's two options. There's a standard package and an all-access package. And within both, we have the first thing, which is that re-entry fee. This is $5,000 to basically become a PSBA member again. This is just a flat fee that we'll have to pay, at least as far as we're aware, as this first year to kind of become members again. So that's kind of a re-entry membership fee. Within this, and then we'll jump into the standard. Within the standard, you can basically layer on or a la carte pick some additional items that are not included. Some of those ones that we as a district would probably potentially look at is maybe some training, the policy maintenance, the Safety Institute, and then additionally we would do this, the top here is $6,900 a year for policy review to be able to get our first initial review, and then it kind of would go through policy maintenance afterwards. Some of the stuff that's included or not included in standard is included into the all access. So that's where kind of the second one comes in to kind of review what's included, what's not included between the two. But just from the first glance, what you get between the all access versus the standard, it makes more fiscal sense to do the all access because you get additional items that we may not initially use, but we will potentially use. We get some additional benefits. Some of them were, I think you said, what was one, Dr. Mitchell, you said that was a big one between, I guess the Safety Institute was a big one.
Correct.
The policy maintenance was another one we would use.
Correct.
I believe there was one more I think we talked about. I can't remember off the top of my head.
We would have student access to student scholarships.
There we go. Yeah.
So PSBA does do student scholarships that are available every year, and only member schools have access to have students apply for and get those scholarships.
So that's just kind of the look. These are kind of to be able to take home and digest the two options. I just know that they even state that they save about $6,000 between the two at the top of that second one between the cost. But we'll try to jump into that here in a little bit. So that's option 1 would be going back to PSBA. We have the option to do standard or all access. Option 2 or 1A is stock and leader. So stock and leader offered us a proposal kind of in conjunction with PSBA. They had two options within their offer. So option 1A was stock and leader to conduct basically only legal review of our policies, and that was after PSBA did their policy review. So it would be basically us becoming members so they could do a review, and then stock and leader would kind of supplement that with an additional layer of legal review. In their proposal was a 3-year kind of plan for that $30,750, because they said they could do approximately 100 policies a year. We have took almost 300, so it would take about 3 years to complete that. They gave us a total. So I kind of broke it down in year-by-year basis of $10,250 a year. So that's the 1A, and then the additional option is to not do PSBA and just go all in with stock and leader. They would do both legal and policy review. It's pretty much double the work, so they doubled the cost. And that's the same factor, 3-year plan to review all those at $61,500, breaks down to $20,500 a year. So those are kind of the 3 options we have as a financial aspect to look at, just bringing just house cleaning items of our policy. So we'll just look at kind of the financial aspect of it. So here's like the 3 options if we look at it as a snapshot of each year. So option one, like I said, we would pick the standard, plus we would add on a couple items. We'd add on the policy maintenance, we'd add on the safety institute, and we'd have to add on the policy review, that's $6,900. Just want to note that within those two numbers is the $5,000 fee, so that would probably most likely be removed from year two. So if we look at subsequent years, that would be about $5,000 less than what's presented in option one. And the same thing in option 1A would be true. I basically took option one and layered on top of the stock and leader if they did legal review only on top of PSBA. And that's what that would be. So that's a kind of a 1 year total. So if less 5,000, that'd be kind of subsequent years. And then option two would be stock and leader, just an all in for them to do policy and legal review, and that's kind of a per year snapshot. So that's kind of what we looked at from basically a financial aspect. I know Dr. Miss was kind of going to go in kind of what benefits each provide from a policy perspective, but this one I was just going to focus solely on financial and see what kind of this committee's recommendation was as a financial aspect of it, and not so much as a policy review aspect. Because it is a financial commitment. This currently is not budgeted, so we would need to kind of go forward with this as an option to kind of layer this back on.
I wish Brian was here. This falls on.
Yeah.
Carl?
Just sit in the audience.
So,
But
Well, you basically have, what you're looking at is dollar amounts. But you're also looking at, it's a little tough for you, because the getting into it, what's in it. Tim's gonna review with that committee. But you really are looking at PSBA that's gonna do policy review, in direct comparison to stock and leader that's going to be a policy review. But PSBA is going to add value to other items in other areas that stock and leader is not. The other challenge where this all began was our policy manual needs reviewed. There were 3 years that this district did not belong to a policy review group, meaning PSBA. But 2 years were together and 1 year was apart. So we've had the opportunity to review for PSBA. And then a year you were out. Then I think 2 more years you were back in. Then 2 years you were out. So it's a mixed and varied history that's been here. So the impetus of all this really began with the fact that because you've been in a program, out of a program, in and then back out currently, we really need to have somebody review our policies and processes. So that is the most immediate need. If you want to do that and couple that with some other benefits, that's not the stock and leader route, that's the PSBA route.
And my intention on asking other members was to get more feedback from a financial perspective on their thoughts while we're in this committee, the financial committee, because both Steve and I are going to hear Dr. Mitchell explain to us what the other portion is. So what my recommendation would be because Steve and I are the only two here right now, to kick this to the next meeting, and then we'll come with the committee when we have more members present there. That's what I would say, so that we can hear the full picture.
yeah, that's good.
Sounds good.
I just wanted to ask you, the School Safety Institute, that
Yes.
seemed to be a big plus for you. And you'll probably dive into that, into the curriculum side
Yes,
of
a little
things.
bit, yes.
Okay, right. but for their benefit, could you just maybe give a little?
Yeah, from my understanding, speaking with the SBA, the School Safety Institute is an area where we are able to go as a school team, an administrative team, and review safety features, safety processes, tabletop things, look at how we can provide for our students and our school district here in the best possible way for safety. Now, that's included as members. We have an open house that is scheduled next week that I would like to be able to go to. That's being able to see it. Dr. Naylor himself went and visited the School Safety Institute just a few weeks ago. There's a short flyer as well.
Always prepared, Dr.
Absolutely. It is a huge benefit and would be a huge benefit to our safety planning.
So, maybe this might be a question for you, Dr. Bell. How many school districts are part of this program? Not the safety, but just the membership?
Well, according to the last discussion, we're the only one that is not.
Correct.
So 499 are.
500.
Okay, so that's kind of a little indication of where we should be possibly if we can work it through.
530 school districts,
If we're done.
Unless we use the Cypress, which are 720 then, so there's some discrepancy.
Okay, so that.
So yeah, once this committee, well, at least these two members will get, Dr. Mitchell will come back and review what the options have broken down. So we'll jump into, just as this kind of an update that we'll see on the next agenda to kind of give you a heads up. Aptigee, which is our website, Dr. Mitchell and Carrie were able to meet with them to see what additional options they have. And one of the features they have is what's called Rooms. Rooms is a kind of a communication tool that we can use within the district. Currently have multiple communication tools. This is an opportunity to basically bring that in under one umbrella, which then links with our website. What's going to be asked is that we commit 5 years, kind of lock that in for 5 years. Dr. Mitchell was able to negotiate the price down from our current at the top is $11,500. The next year is supposed to jump to $12,150. He's able to, if we do a 5-year agreement, to lock it in at $10,700 per year, and then an administrative fee to initiate Rooms of $5,000. We would calculate that out for 5 years. If we did just the website at $12,150 a year, we save about $2,250. So what's going to happen is we're going to be able to ask if we can commit to that now, similar fashion where we did with technology with the iPads and the Chromebooks, to be able to save that if we can do that early. The reasoning behind to do it so early is because the teachers leave for the summer, so this gives us time to be able to start and initiate training before they would leave on summer break. So we were able to get that approved in May. We at least have a week and a half, 2 weeks to kind of get that initiated. So you'll see that at the board agenda. It's just kind of an update to kind of tell you why it's on there. Yes, the budget. All right, so we'll jump into kind of the financial aspects here. The first section is Homestead Farmstead. So Governor Shapiro certified $900 million for property tax relief, and it was stated that it was going to be sustainable for 5 years at that level. Just kind of a brief history update of what the tax relief has been. Prior to the most recent increase, that $595 from 21-22, that was steady for many years and had no increase whatsoever. In 22-23, we saw a sizable increase, which impacted the district. That held steady last year, or current year, and then this upcoming year, we're going to see another sizable increase to taxpayers. So that's a good thing for our taxpayers. From a district aspect, that's a net neutral for us. Every dollar we get in goes back to the taxpayers to reduce their tax bill. So just for this year, at that $900 million, calculated at a 0% tax increase, would be $310.95 for qualified homes. Currently, we have 4,299 homes, 4,299 homes. I cannot answer that question. The homes get certified by the county. So to jump in to kind of the breakdown of that, That was just a brief history update. So comparing current year to next year with that increase in allocation, you can see that 70% of our taxpayers, so that roughly $4,300 number, is about 70% of our taxpayers qualify and would receive this $310.95. That's an additional $49.63 at 0% tax increase, or $49.61. Some change gets, some rounding, some change gets moved around each percentage increase. So if we look at our average home, which I've always presented here, is at $280,000. That equates to roughly a 1.32% tax increase. So that 1.32 for anybody who has a $280,000 home is basically in that neutral there. So any questions on kind of the homestead farmstead aspect of things? That's just an extra benefit to taxpayers, and then that's just a note there that that tax benefit equates to about 1.32% tax rates.
So is that something that is ready information that for home to, is this a yearly thing that you apply for, or is it just a one-time?
Generally, when you move into a home or build a home, you are supplied with a letter, and then there is a yearly mailing to be able to fill out paperwork. That paperwork is also provided on our Adams County tax website that you can apply and have that. You have to fill out a brief information. The county then certifies that and then sends that out to us yearly. That's nothing that the district handles. That's something handled directly by the county. They submit it to the county. The county tells us if it's certified or denied, and then we appropriate what the state gives us as money off of the tax bill, since we issue the tax bill.
The application for homestead and farmstead exclusion is basically this. It's 14 questions, and that would be the ones if you would include farmstead. Farmstead pretty much adds acreage that's into it, but if it's just homestead information, you have basic information, which is your municipality address and name. That's 6 questions. And then there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 total questions for the homestead information. And it's, are you the primary residence? Can you claim anywhere else? Part of a co-op? Used for anything other than primary? And then the tax parcel number. So it is extremely easy to access and extremely easy to complete. And 4,299 out of 6,143 properties that we have that are taxable, which gives us the 70%.
Very good.
You guys understand what we're talking about with the 280,000 equating to 1.32? Or maybe explain that a little better.
Okay, so our average home is $280,000. So if the board would raise,
Move down to the next screen.
so what that 1.32% means, if the board would raise taxes 1.32%, anybody with a home of $280,000 would see or less would see no tax increase. So that's what it equates to. So anywhere,
That's if they're in the homestead, farmstead.
Right.
And again, remember, homestead is just basically your primary home, as long as you're not a renter. Okay, as long as you're not a renter. So this is an area that sometimes gets overlooked that I think is extremely important. That you can review if the average home or less, they're either going to see a decrease in their bill or no increase in their bill. 300,000 up to 400,000. Again, if you're in the homestead, farmstead, you're going to deduct, for lack of a better term, $50, $49.61 or whatever. And then that increase would be much smaller than what you're going to see here. This does not include homestead, farmstead. So once this committee decides what number they're going to settle on, we'll be able to show you that if it's a tax increase or not a tax increase, it won't matter. We'll show you with the deduction that 70% have in home or farmstead, and what that actual increase or decrease would be. We will be able to do that and should provide that for you next time around in June before you do the final meeting. But in order to do that, we're going to need direction for what number to put in there.
So with that segue here, we'll jump into our tax increase, which then will funnel into the ask of the committee to give me a tax increase to be able to provide within the proposed budget. So here it was a kind of just wanted a brief tax increase for Littlestown as a whole. These percentages here are what we've done for the past 10 years. And right now, as I've shown for the past several months, is 0%, unless the committee tells me otherwise to proceed. Right now, that's where it sits. But that's just a brief update on that. Any questions currently? Okay. So there's just the 10-year. It was also requested to kind of compare that to other local LEAs. So I kind of compared a 10-year, 5-year, and current year for Adams County and then the IU. I highlighted us here in yellow. So you can see what we've done over 10 years, the past 5 years, and then current year in comparison to our Adams County peers. This is pretty typical fashion where we're either in second and third place, kind of ping pongs every year between us, Bermuda, and Upper Adams, are kind of always in that same struggle for second, third, fourth place in the county. Just kind of depends on any snapshot that where we've kind of fallen in. And then obviously here down is the average of the IU. I believe it's 25-ish school districts that make that up between Franklin, Adams, and York County. So we'll jump into the budget updates. I'm not going to provide a breakdown of the budget. It's exactly the same minus one change. The one change is we were able to set up our health care. That was kind of a placeholder at 8%. What it came in is actually 10%. So that is going to be, that should be over here, and then change that. Healthcare is 10%, which equates to that 87,000. So that's the budget increase there of 87,000. And then here's my ask of what to put in the proposed budget. So at the May meeting, the board will have to vote on a proposed budget that will need to sit for 30 days for review, and then the final one in June. So I need at least a direction with the tax increase to provide in that proposed budget. It's not, the board has ample opportunity, a whole month to be able to set that finally. So this is just what we want to look at, what we want to have provided, approved, and reviewed by the public.
Correct. You can make a recommendation, but if a majority of the board wants to change it,
Correct.
they can do that before it goes out in May as well. You're just providing direction for us to build something.
So as what was proposed before was 0, 1, 1.5, 2. So I kind of have 0, 1, 1, 2, 5 other, kind of funneling those out. So it's just kind of a question to the two of you here tonight of what you would like me to build that proposed budget for the full board to review.
Just give me the opportunity to say something before I do. Well, I think that what we currently have is what you just described. And that is going to impact, will that cover what we need, or are we going to be short?
In what aspect, I guess?
Well, part of the budget is to find out, make sure we have enough money to do what we got to do. So, 1.5, 1. It's so easy to say and discuss numbers up here, but the impact to the community, taking advantage of what your, some of the benefits of the state through the Homestead Act and different things, we want to weigh all options so that we're being fair, not only to the community, but we're being fair to the district and to the children. So room to finesse this in the next workshop before it goes to the final board. And without Brian being here, maybe that might be something I want to consider.
I would just say that when, for the past how many months we've said at least 1% for ACTI, so I would at least suggest maybe at least building at least 1%. If we want to do anything above and beyond that, I think that's something you guys can discuss, but
Okay.
at least we can look at that portion. It's basically you guys have the opportunity to set any increment you want, 0 up to 7%.
Well, I would like to see 0 the last however many months we've been working on things. I just, when you look at that chart, taxes have been raised every year for a long time. Some years more than others. I feel like we're in a good financial position in the district in terms of we don't need it and we don't need the money at this point in time to run our operation. That's what my thought is. I think Brian would have a different thought than me. And so that takes it to Steve.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, it's just for me to have it ready for the work session. We'll just set it with that. You guys, as the full board of 9, can say, I don't like what was presented at the work session, have an opportunity to then reset it before you would vote on it the subsequent Monday. So tonight's not locking you in, it's just so I can prepare a document to have ready for Monday. So 0, 1, any opportunity, any percentages is available.
Just so it's a visual, 0, 1, 2, and just so we can look at it. Is that possible?
We can have all 3 of those put on the agenda, but we can only approve on the following week.
Right.
Just I would need a definite direction by next Monday.
Okay.
But we could provide that, or I could provide one and then just say what the differences would be, because it's just the only difference is going to be that real estate number. It's up to you guys what you.
So one would give you the direction you need,
Yeah.
and with more information on the side there.
We can provide that part
You
of
good with that? With one?
I'm not good at raising taxes, but I'm good if that's what Tom wants to put in for next Monday.
Right.
As a non.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about raising it. I'm just saying, just so we can look at it and make our decisions.
Whatever you need to bring to the board,
Right.
because this isn't a final, we're gonna
Right.
talk about it next week.
This is just tossing stuff around and trying to
Yep.
get an idea.
Okay, so then we'll build it with 1%, and then we'll be able to, and I'm more than happy to discuss it at the board meeting so that everybody's aware and comfortable with what decision they'll make at the voting session as well. Just a quick update here on the budget timeline. Like I said, I can present anything that wants to be presented at the work session, and then we'll have to have an approval by state law to have it set for the 30 days. And then you guys will have the same opportunity to set again from a committee level to the final, to then lock it in as a final approval. With that, that's going to be a must to have a final decision voted upon June 17th. We don't want to have a call special session to have that post the 17th.
So we have to go on it.
Correct, so we'll have to be able to commit to something by then. The next couple of slides are just informational only. I'm just going to briefly update this. At the work session, Chartwell's, our cafeteria provider, will be there to present. As a financial aspect here, just a brief update. The top portion here is our estimated reimbursements, and then our estimated expenses. They are showing right now for next year a budget loss of $1,900. Within that contract, they can lock in a guarantee. For next year, they have locked in a break-even guarantee. And what that break-even guarantee means is that the district will not lose any money in the cafeteria. So we're able to either make money or we'll have zero. Even though it shows an estimated loss, that's for budgeting purposes, will make us whole. So any loss we would assume in the cafeteria, Chartwell's will negate that and give us the additional money to kind of make us be zero. So that's just their break-even guarantee this year. They locked that in. That's been set. Within that, there's no change in prices. Since we have additional funds within the cafeteria balance, we're able to hold student prices steady. And this is just a kind of reminder of the state locked in breakfast. They codified breakfast free for all. And then those are the lunch prices that will be available for elementary and secondary students next year. The change will be for adults. Adults will go up 15 cents to $4.55 for their meal. So I just want to note that we are going to hold prices steady for the students there. The next thing is change orders. We had 4 change orders approved for these amounts. We had some additional grading. We went down into tennis courts, add a couple things, conduit wiring, and this inlet here. So we're total use here is that just shy of 140,000, or that 7.8%. And then another brief update is baseball bathrooms. We did receive a donation to get that ADA compliant portable bathroom at the baseball stadium. I am going to hold that $300. I'm going to pay for the initial invoice. I'm going to hold any additional funds until we would have the closure of the baseball season, any home games, and be removal, and then any remainder funds will be used towards any negative balances towards lunch, unless the committee would propose that solution. All right, that concludes
Thank you very much.
presentation.
Okay, moving on here. Is there any other business?
No, not for me.
Okay. All right, we're going to adjourn, and I have an announcement.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, and you can.
Second, that's it.
And all in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hit it a little soon, okay. Following the Financial Property Committee meeting, there will be an executive session to discuss contractual items concerning the business administrator and the assistant superintendent, and Act 93, this administrator. Thank you.
Good, good.
That's what I was wondering.
Yes.
What is this?
I'd love to have some of this.
What's that?
And lasting.
You're
Oh. Okay. That's okay. And what you're doing?
Yeah, that's zero.
the goal is
Very difficult math, though. I mean, I had to use my toes, I was learning to shoot.
Because I don't know what his
Yeah, crazy.
expertise is in that area. It's interesting because that's what my husband has done for years and years. He doesn't do it any longer. He's still in the trade, but he used to go into, especially the old tobacco factories and refurbish all the papers. Yeah, and he did like something like that in New York. Years ago, he did all the windows and stuff, so. Yeah, but we get some information.
Okay.
And
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's trying to figure out the parameters and then, you know, of course, if certain things don't work, it's like, well, can somebody, you know, can we get Pella or something to donate some windows?
Do you want these to be like remain historically accurate?
I mean, that would be ideal, but I don't think.
But you're not able to,
Twice.
okay, I got
No.
you. Okay.
And it's almost limited, so it's not like, you know, these are, but the frames are also rotted. So the frame has to be replaced and the window has to be replaced. Shutters fortunately are good.
Okay. Actually, my husband and I can look at it and tell me what it is. Yeah, so he's gonna help me explain it. He's very knowledgeable.
If you want me to meet you out there, I can get the key and, right, because I think that the shutters only open from the inside, so we keep the shutters
Gotcha.
closed
Okay.
so that.
Yeah, they're saying now, like, we can increase taxes,
But they will be out there. Yeah, and that probably would be good. I think it's Littlestown that's out. No, they come in the fall. This is going to be either school district.
Upper Adams, yeah, yeah,
I don't remember if it's, which one it is. And they're actually gonna be there next week, Tuesday,
Oh,
Wednesday,
visiting.
Thursday,
Oh,
doing the class.
Okay.
But only from like 9:30 to 1:30.
He's all over the place, and of course I'm like,